What's up, my fellow weird ones out there, and welcome to the Leo full moon video that is happening on January 28th. Adjust accordingly for your time zone. I'm Eastern Standard Time. This full moon is a big one. It's a big one. It is a big mother effing one. It's gonna be very intense, very dramatic, very dramatized. It is going to bring drama to the next level. It is that Leo energy, but it is making some very interesting aspects, which we're going to look at and go over today. I may briefly go over how it's going to affect each sign astrologically towards the end. Yeah, anyways, if you guys want to hang out with me and join my little astrology nerd circle, then relax, sit down, and yeah, let's do it. Okay, so as you will be able to see here, we have the Leo full moon. Okay, so let's first go over, in case anybody's new here, let's have a little astrology 101 lesson. So a full moon is when the moon is opposite the sun in the sky. Okay, so basically, we know this because the sun is in Aquarius, and so when the moon goes around and gets to Leo, Aquarius's opposite sign, we will have a full moon. Okay, so whatever sign, whatever season it is, wherever the sun is, you know what full moon it is because it will be in the opposite sign of whatever season it is. So if it's like Capricorn season and we have a full moon, it's going to be a Cancer full moon. If it's Pisces season and we have a full moon, it's going to be a Virgo full moon. Basically, we know this is a full moon because the moon is in Leo, opposite the sun in the sign of Aquarius, which makes a full moon. Full moons are a time of peak moments, intensity, heightened emotions, heightened awareness. It's also a time of drama. You know, it's the moon, and the moon rules the darkness, the night, right? It shines at night, so it is a time where things come out from the darkness. You know, the shadow comes out, our internal feelings, emotions, instincts come out. It can be very reactionary and less logical. We can be also more in tune with our intuition, our psychic abilities, and what's going on. Full moons, you know, are in opposition to the sun, so it is the moon kind of almost taking the sun's light as it's reflecting the sun's light in the night, which makes it look very big and full. It's kind of that energy of the wolves coming out at night or something, is how you can kind of think of a full moon. Now let's add the other layer to it. Let's add the sign of Leo here. So Leo is a fire sign. It is a fixed fire sign. So Leo is a sign that deals with self-expression, authenticity, creativity. It is fun. It can also be very dramatic, kind of self-absorbed at times. These are themes that you could be seeing for this full moon. I think of Leo, the Leo and Aquarius axis. I think of when one defines who they are based off of their likes, their desires, their creative talents, the things that they enjoy doing, the things that they love doing, because Leo rules the heart, right? I feel like when one is brave enough to be themselves, to put themselves out there as Leo does, eventually they find that by being themselves, they contribute to the whole or the collective or the society. And that would be where Aquarius comes in as the whole or the collective or the society, which is why Aquarius can have a unique or different nature to it as well, detached at times even, because it's kind of the opposite of Leo, where Leo is maybe the center of the stage and Aquarius is maybe the crowd that is watching the person on the stage, right? But if the person on the stage is lacking in confidence, that's going to show, right? If the person on the stage is not being themselves or not expressing their talents or their gifts or their creativity because they're nervous or they're scared, that's going to show, right? Which is going to affect the whole show. What I am kind of getting for this full moon is just that. By being ourselves, by, you know, embracing who we are, our talents, our gifts. It could be a time of being a little bit more selfish, you know what I mean? Like being a little bit more self-absorbed just to work on yourself, basically. Bring that Leo energy out, bring that confidence out, bring that empowerment out, because by being yourself, you inspire others. which is the Leo Aquarian kind of dynamic in my interpretation. When one is able to love themselves, it means that they are able to love others. They are able to see the value in others. You know, there's kind of this toxicity or this kind of bad rep around Leo of like, oh, they're like egocentric and egotistical. And while, yeah, that can happen with Leos, you know, a Leo that is operating in the higher energy, you could say, even though I hate using those types of terms, but there is duality to each sign. There are the kind of more fear-based characteristics of the sign and the more loving-based characteristics of the sign, you could say. And the loving-based characteristics of Leo is being very giving, being very generous, being very caring and inspiring, you know, like being the cheerleader for other people because they're confident in their own selves. It's no longer like a competition, you know, when they're operating from fear, from an egocentric standpoint, then yeah, people are going to seem like a competition, and it's going to seem like they're going to project themselves to be overly confident or overly egotistical or overly self-absorbed. They're going to project themselves to be a lot more of a big deal than they actually think they are internally. And so, but when you truly allow your internal world and, you know, go into your internal world and you love yourself from the inside out, you start rubbing off on other people. And so you see that by being yourself, by loving yourself, by empowering your own self, and by being confident within your own self, you make a mark on the whole. And it no longer becomes just about you, but it becomes about you and everybody else instead of you versus everybody else. And so those, I think, are the dynamics that we're going to see for this Leo full moon, you know, because a lot of people think like, oh, well, I'm like very giving and I give and this, that, and the other. I'm like super unselfish and I just like give all the time. And a matter of fact, people walk all over me. But like, even if you're giving, it's normally always for a selfish reason. Even if it just makes you feel good to give, that's selfish. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm giving because it makes me feel good. Like, okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. We're humans. We have an ego. We are here to experience all the spectrums of life. And that involves having an ego and worrying about the self. Without an ego, we would not know whose mouth to put the food into, right? Like, there would be no fear about anything, you know what I mean? There would be no growth. It would be pretty damn boring, you know? So the ego does play a part, but when we can find that love within, people are no longer a threat to us, and we begin to see that we are all connected in some way and that we can share that love with other people without fearing to do so, you know? So hopefully that makes sense. Let me know down below if you're catching my drift here. Yeah, we have the Leo full moon. In general, that's what I think. Those are the main themes that I think that we're going to see in some place in all of our lives. But the full moon is in a T-square, as you can see here, with Mercury and Uranus opposite or conjunction in the sign of Taurus. Now, they are coming off of their conjunction, but nonetheless, they're still pretty damn close. That's still technically a conjunction. They're only 4 degrees off. So this is going to give a whole twist to this energy. We're dealing with fixed signs here. So, you know, we're dealing with energy that does not like a lot of change, that does not like to move, that does not like to start something or end something. It's just kind of there. You know what I mean? It's kind of like it digs its heels into the ground and doesn't move. It wants things to stay how they are. And so with this square to Mars and Uranus, it's really going to light that up. So we could see something shocking, something random. We could have really all over the place emotions. There could be a lot of moodiness, a lot of dramatic, intensified feelings. I really think that we could also see a lot of outbursts or like tantrums. You know what I mean? Like I see this and I think of like, you know, a tantrum almost. Feeling like we want to rebel or feeling like we're stuck because of some kind of circumstance in our life, like we can't move forward or we're being blocked or there's some kind of resistance. And so we may feel that we're lacking in being able to be ourselves or inspire others or be inspired, you know. Uranus gives this theme of freedom and liberation and rebellion, as I've been saying now for months. And it also gives this theme of like higher forms of thinking, higher forms of intelligence, like shifty kind of energy, randomness, shaking things up. Uranus is like lightning. In Taurus, it can be like an earthquake, you know, the ground shaking. Now, what's interesting is the ruler of this full moon, Leo is the sun, and the sun is opposite of it in Aquarius. And so Leo, this Leo energy, the sun would rather be where the moon is, you know, so it's almost like you could say like giving its light. So there could be like a theme of like having to give something even though it's what you want, you know, like, so like an example could be like somebody else almost gets what you want and you have to give it to them. And so it is kind of a time of learning the balance between giving and taking. It is kind of a time between like, you know, is this a good time to give, or is this a good time to do for myself? Is this good for me, or is this good for everybody, you know, the whole? And there's going to be some tension there, you know, there could be some outbursts, some drama, something that comes to light or something that is highlighted, some kind of peak moment with a major twist. With that, we also have Venus and Pluto coming into a conjunction here in Capricorn, which is very interesting because Venus is the ruler of Taurus, where this Mars and Uranus conjunction is taking place right now for this full moon. So we could see something extreme happening, or something happening like on a global level, or in like a leadership level. There could be something kind of extreme, or something kind of hidden, or something kind of secret coming to the surface. We could also become very controlling or obsessive. With Venus, there could be a level of relationships becoming toxic in some way. Now, not everybody's going to deal with that, but there is going to be a major relationship theme. There is going to be a major theme of Pluto and Venus. So we're going to want depth in relationships. We're going to want to transform something or change something in our relationships. Now, this could also be a money issue comes up as well with Venus and Taurus involved here. This could have to do in the US specifically. There could be something coming out about the economy or the stimulus checks, something along those lines, jobs, you know, money. When I see Venus and Pluto together, I think of like extreme wealth. So this could be something to do with somebody that has a lot of wealth, or that has a lot of money, or that's very rich or wealthy. This really is kind of like a very interesting full moon. There's so many different things happening here. There's so many different things going on. And I am also noticing that Chiron here is making aspects to this full moon as well. So that tells me on a personal level that if we can face our wounds when it comes to ourself, or some kind of competition, or needing to be right, or trying to prove something, or trying to prove that we're worthy, if we can let go of desires to be the only one, or be the winner, or be on top, or be right, then I think, and we can face any kind of wounds that we have with identity, or any kind of fears that we have with identity, or embracing our confidence, embracing who we are, or our leadership, or, you know, if we can allow ourselves to pioneer and stay in our truth, I think that we can deal with the tension of this full moon if it does bring tension into your life. Now, some people are going to feel this more than others. So, you know, not everybody is going to feel this the exact same way. But these are a lot of themes that we could notice in our lives. You know, you may notice some of these themes, but not all of these themes, and that's totally normal and fine. So yeah, you know, there could be secrets coming out with relationships, or relationships from the past coming up in your life. There could be money situations happening, financial situations happening, random financial situations happening. You could really, really want to move forward in a very unorthodox or out of the box different kind of way, or we could really want to rebel against current paradigms or systems or whatever, because we want to be comfortable, you know. And I think this is also bringing up a lot of questions about the new normal versus the old normal. You know, like, can we rebuild based off of what's happened? Was the system even working before? All of these types of questions are, were our lives even working before? So this is definitely going to bring up a lot of leadership type of energy. You know, Leo is the king, Aquarius is the people. The sun is in Aquarius right now, where it's in detriment. Basically, it really is kind of like a socio-economical kind of energy, also like crowds and people and society itself, humanity itself. And really, you know, it's a time to really look and embrace the power within, and to face anything that is keeping us from standing in our confidence and in our internal empowerment. So that is what I'm seeing for this full moon in general. But let's go ahead and go through the signs really quickly. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, so the timestamps will be down below. So let's start with Leo. All right, Leo. So this full moon is happening in your sign, obviously, and it's going to be opposite Jupiter and the sun in Aquarius. Okay, so this is going to be a major time of expansion and really trying to combine the two worlds of yourself and your desires and your feelings, and where you feel empowered, where you feel confident, where you feel like you need to get back to you and your authenticity, versus your relationships, because February is a major month for relationships for Leo coming up. And so this is kind of like a little chance to get back in touch with yourself and your authenticity, and make sure that whatever you're doing, that you're on the same page with, that it is a true representation of who you are and your authenticity. Now, something I will say to be careful with here is that you could find something dramatic or moving, or something that really pushes you to do something when it comes to the world, your career, authority figures, or out in the public or in the public eye in some way. And this could be, you want to really right now, this coming week, Leo, watch how you are, what you are doing, or what what you're fighting for, or what you're believing in, because this type of week could somehow affect your career or your reputation or the way that people perceive you. And I know it's kind of like contradictory, because this full moon is all about you and what you feel is right, and I'm not saying to not do what you feel is right, but this is definitely a major time of coming to a higher understanding of what you want in terms of relationships and the people around you, also relationships within your work or business partnerships, what you want for your future. So this is a major time of that. You may be feeling very emotional, heightened emotions, intensified intuition or dreams this week. You really want to pay attention to these signs, because you're going to be getting a lot of signs and a lot of kind of synchronicities that will probably be happening to you. But this is a good time to use that energy of the full moon to embrace who you are, and embrace and really check in with yourself to see, have you been being yourself? Have you been being true to what you believe and your own authenticity, or have you been trying to please others or fit into some kind of situation or relationship or career or whatever that just is not igniting your fire within? And so I think this is going to be a major time where those things are going to all be coming together somehow. So definitely let me know down below if you end up relating to that. So for Virgo, this full moon is happening in your 12th house sector. So this is going to be a time where you are going to be checking in with yourself and your truth and your authenticity and your expression, your individuality, and if you're being authentic to who you are, by removing yourself a bit from society. There's something that you're trying to understand when it comes to your job or humanity itself, or people in your day-to-day life, or work, your routine, your health, or something along those lines, where the way that you're going to understand it is by checking in with how you really feel deep down. And these feelings may be a little bit hard to find because they're in your 12th house, kind of tucked away in the shadows. So it may be a good time to find something creative, something that you love, something that really brings you back to you, to embrace and to escape into during this time. You may be also having some intense dreams and synchronicities as well. Now, a few other themes that could come up here for Virgo is somehow being removed from society. So the 12th house also rules hospitals, breaking habits. This could be a really good time to break some kind of habit that you've been trying to break for a while, or to somehow address subconscious habits, or address subconscious cycles that you've been stuck in. This could also bring up health stuff as well. You also are going to be addressing that Mars and Uranus in your 9th house as well, which is your perspective on life itself, your perspective and your views on certain things that are going on in the world, or certain things going on in your life, your philosophical views, your world views, your political views, your religious views, all of these types of views, or even other types of views, like your views on certain policies or regulations or laws or whatever. you know, this is going to be a time where all of these kind of areas of life for you are coming into play somehow. So definitely let me know down below. This would be a really good time to implement some kind of spiritual practice or routine, or let go of an old routine that's no longer working for you as well. So let me know how that goes down below. It really helps me to connect with you guys and to understand as well what's going on in the astrology, and it helps me as an astrologer. So I really appreciate your feedback. You can also come back and let me know by the end of the week too, like, you know, what's going on or what happened, you know, by the end of the full moon, because you can always feel this energy building up the week before, at least normally. Some people feel it after, so it just depends on yourself. But anyways, okay, so moving on to Libra. So Libra, this full moon for you is happening in a place that deals with friends, social circles, popularity, your ambitions, your acquaintances, your connections, networking, like putting yourself out there, kind of star of the show type of energy like I was talking about earlier. But it's, you know, opposite Sun and Jupiter in your 5th house. So this is a time where it's going to be really important for you you're going to be wanting to kind of shine, or you're going to possibly be pushed in a position where maybe you want some kind of recognition or something along those lines. But basically the themes here are you being true to yourself? Whatever you're doing, is it really who you are? Are you standing out in some way? Are you being true to your authenticity? Or are you doing something that other people just want you to do? This is also a time, you know, where it's squaring Uranus and Mars and Taurus in your 8th house. You know, this may be addressing something that has been hidden or mysterious or behind the scenes. This may be some kind of fear coming to the surface. This could also be something to do with finances, resources, other people's finances, shared resources, your partner's finances, loans, banks, bills that are due, or money that you owe, or somebody that owes you money, old friends, or old social circles, or old acquaintances, or something like that. So those are kind of going to be the themes for you. Also, children could be a playing theme that comes up here. Also, what you do for fun, how you express yourself creatively. Definitely let me know what energy comes up there for you if you're a Libra rising. Scorpio, this full moon is happening in the 10th house sector of career, public image, reputation, authority figures, possibly something to do with authority figures. Also the world in general, your path in life, where you feel like you're going, your public achievements, you know, your life in general, what you want for your future, your adulthood, all of these types of things. Also the father can be ruled by this sector sometimes. So this is going to bring up kind of an opposition between your public life, like your career and your reputation, and, you know, if you want to be seen, or if you want some kind of recognition, or your, you know, authority figures, all of that, your public kind of accolades and achievements and recognition and all that, versus your more private life and home life and family life, like what's going on at home or with the family, or, you know, in your personal life and your emotional inner world, you know. And so this is going to be a time of really trying to embrace both of these parts of life, or bringing them together somehow to make them work. There could be, you know, some kind of news, or some kind of, you know, I really feel like this could have something to do with a parent for Scorpio, like a father figure. But if not, it could be like a boss or a family member, just in general. Now we also have, you know, Mars and Uranus squaring this full moon in your 7th house of relationships and commitment, agreements, marriage, you know, committed relationships, all of that. So there could be some kind of major tension here with relationships, you know, versus your career and your family, you know, your personal life. But these are the main areas that are really coming up for you right now, Scorpio. So definitely let me know how that ends up playing out for you down below. So moving on to Sagittarius. So for Sagittarius, this full moon is happening in your 9th house sector of your perspective on life, your world views, your views on life and the meaning of life, and you know, higher education, your faith, your optimism, you know, the types of views that you hold for spiritual views, religious views, political views, philosophical views, all of these types of things, you know. So and like I said, higher education, learning, teaching. So this could be definitely a time where those themes are coming up for you this week, but it's going to be opposite your third house sector of Aquarius, you know, where this is more about your community and like the small, like your possibly your close friends and what's going on in your immediate surroundings, in your immediate environments. So this could be a time where maybe there's something that you want to do, or there's some kind of ending going on here involving learning, or you know, some kind of peak moment happening with learning, or your beliefs, or your perspective on a situation, you know, or something going on with your friends, or your small social circle, or your environment. You know, this could also be something going on with like transportation, travel, something like that. Now, this is squaring Mars and Uranus in your 6th house of Taurus. So you are, you know, somehow this is bringing in some kind of intensity or breakthrough, or resistance, or changing something to do with your day-to-day life, your routines, your health, you know, and your job, your work, what you do on a day-to-day basis. So, you know, you may have been stuck in a certain pattern or routine, or like diet or something like that, and this is really kind of bringing in some kind of new perspective, or letting go of some kind of way of doing something. So definitely let me know how that plays out for you, Sag. I'd definitely be interested to know. Moving on to Capricorn. So if you are a Capricorn rising, this is going to resonate for you. Basically, this full moon is happening in your 8th house, Capricorn. So this may be a dramatic ass full moon for you. This may be a little more intense for Capricorn risings than some of the other rising signs, because it's happening in your 8th house sector. So this is definitely a time of like bringing up possibly some kind of change, transformation, some kind of like struggle or issue, or sometimes it can be crisis. I don't want to like freak you out, but it's not always. We have Leo full moons every year, so there's no need to like, you know, freak out about it. But this could bring up some kind of random or dramatic energy from kind of out of nowhere, or in the dark. This could also be something to do with finances, debt, business, you know, your partner's finances, shared resources, shared finances. But it is a time of like, you know, finding a way to deal with something authentically, to deal with something with courage and empowerment, and moving forward, facing some kind of fear, really is what I'm seeing here. Even if it goes against, you know, or even if it's challenging, like your morals, your priorities, your values, something like that. And it's also in a T-square with Mars and Uranus in your 5th house of children, love, romance, what you do for pleasure, fun, creativity, hobbies, games, things like this. So there could be some kind of energy of that coming in, or some kind of themes of that you could see coming into this kind of shit show as well, in some way, shape, or form. You know, there could be something that you really want, or something that you're really trying to upgrade, or, you know, do something like maybe you've been wanting a new car, but your priorities are off, and now all of a sudden this kind of like bill comes in, and you're like, well, shit, like now I can't get it. That's just an example of how these energies could play out. But there could be something that you've been wanting for pleasure, or for comfort, or for security, and this could be a time where, you know, you could end something in order to get that, you know, or it could be a time where there's some kind of issue that comes up. So definitely let me know how that ends up playing out for you guys down below. Aquarius. So for Aquarius, this full moon is happening in your 7th house of Leo. So this is a time where you are going to be noticing major relationship themes. There could be some intensity or drama coming up in your relationships. This could be a time of kind of bringing up some challenges for you guys, or bringing up a question of authenticity, or you know, maybe your partner could be acting a little bit more like, I don't know, like they want to push forward with something, or maybe they are trying to embrace their authentic truth or something, but at the same time you could be feeling opposed to this in some way. This could also be a time of, it could be a time of challenges in relationships, but it could also be a time of like embracing your own authentic truth inside of a relationship, expressing yourself or your partner expressing themselves. So, but this aspect is making a T-square down here to Mars and Uranus in the sign of Taurus. So in your 4th house sector. So this could be a time where there's some kind of challenges coming up with the home and the family or the personal life, or where there's some kind of tension between your family or your home versus your relationship, or your personal life versus your relationship. So yeah, definitely let me know down below how that ends up affecting you guys, Aquarius. So moving on to Pisces. So for Pisces, this full moon is happening in your 6th house sector of work, daily routine, your health, what you do on a day-to-day basis, your schedules. Also, the 6th house can be a time of service and possibly, working hard towards something. With the full moon happening here, though, it's across from Jupiter, so I would say that's kind of a good sign. I think that you're going to be, with all this stuff going on in your 12th, this has been like a time of really kind of getting away from the everyday shit. It's been kind of a time of like pulling back and reflecting or relaxing more, or staying away from, the hustle and bustle of the everyday world. Maybe even, kind of escaping into your own kind of world at times. But this Leo full moon is going to kind of pull your focus back for some reason to the everyday work life. Are you expressing yourself authentically? Are you living your truth at work or with whatever you're doing? Do you need to change something with your health routine or your diet? These types of things are going to be coming up. Now, this is squaring Mars and Uranus in your 3rd house, so this could have something to do with communication, the mind, patterns, your immediate environment, or something along those lines, what's going on in your environment or your neighborhood, siblings, stuff like this, distant relatives as well. So short travels as well. So those are the kind of the themes that you're going to see as a Pisces rising. Definitely let me know how that ends up going for you guys. Alrighty, so moving on to Aries. So Aries, this full moon is happening in your 5th house sector of love, romance, sexuality, children. So you could see these types of themes coming up around this time. Definitely, there could be something that you're working on, or something that you're passionate about, or a hobby, or something you're trying to do for fun, or something going on with your children if you have children. But it really is trying to get you to somehow embrace your whatever it is that you love, whatever it is that your heart is going into, these 5th house themes that I just named off, and somehow also embrace others, or society as a whole, or friends, or somehow showing off what you love to the world in some kind of way. But this may be a time of getting back in touch with what it is that you love, or getting back in touch with your inner child, or why you started something, or why you used to love something, or getting back in touch with your children, or doing something with your children. Now, this is squaring Mars and Uranus in your 2nd house of money, priorities, what it is that you're putting energy and time into, your possessions. So there could have something to do with that. You could see something to do with those themes coming up as well for Aries. So let me know down below how that plays out. So moving on to Taurus. So for Taurus, this full moon is happening in the 4th house. So you're going to see a lot of energy coming up with home, family, your personal life. This is going to be a time where it's like, okay, you need to get away from what's going on in the world and other people and society and, the society at large and, whatever, and get back in touch with yourself on a personal level, on a private level, and get back in touch with your truth, the truth of who you really are, authentically. And, are you inspired? How can you inspire yourself more? This is really a time to reflect on who you are and what you desire, where your heart's at, how you're really feeling within. This could bring up stuff with family or home as well, or the past even. And this is going to be squaring Mars and Uranus in your sign. So this is putting a lot of pressure on you. You're going to be feeling pulled in 2 different directions of like, okay, like I need to focus on my career or the world or my public image or, you know, what's going on in the world or society or whatever it is I'm doing out in the world and in the public versus no, I'm being pulled to go within, I'm being pulled to stay home, or I'm being pulled to focus on myself right now, you know, these types of things. So that is what I see coming up with Taurus. And you may start feeling kind of like shaken up, or like you want to shake something up because it's like, you know, I feel pulled in two different directions and I feel like I'm just gonna like rip apart if I keep doing this. And so it really is forcing you to somehow find some kind of balance or equilibrium, but especially right now it needs to be weighed out with that Leo 4th house energy. So moving on to Gemini. So Gemini, this Leo full moon is happening in your 3rd house of communication, the mind, your immediate and local environment and neighborhood, learning, you know, learning something new, your perception, your perspective, conversations, anything to do with, you know, verbalizing something. It could be, you know, whether it's through mail or letters or something written or talking, you know, or even the internet, really doesn't matter. But there's definitely a major theme focusing on that here. There could also be a theme of like your immediate social circles or what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, how other people are viewing you on a day-to-day basis. And so this is going to be a time that's like, are you speaking your truth? Are you expressing your truth? Are you connecting with your truth? Are you being authentic to who you are? And is what you're expressing, sharing, doing when it comes to connecting with other people, expressing who you are? Now this is squaring Mars and Uranus in your 12th house. So there could be something kind of coming out of left field here for this full moon this week for you, or something from the past coming up, or something that was kind of hidden, or some kind of like random or surprising ending that could happen here as well, you know. And this is really like forcing you to get authentic with yourself and true with yourself about your perspective and what you believe and your views, your morals, and all of those types of things. So moving on to the Cancer risings. This Leo full moon is happening in your 2nd house of money, your income, your priorities, what you possess and what you own as a person. And it's going to be in opposition with the Sun in your 8th house of other people's money and finances, shared finances and resources, you know, and also like fear and major transformations and stuff like that. So this is a time where you're going to be focusing more on money and your priorities. And, you know, if you feel like your priorities are serving you, or if you feel like what you're putting your energy into is actually serving you, and feels true to you. Now this is squaring Mars and Uranus in your 11th house. So, you know, this could have something to do with friends or social circles or other people or what other people are doing. You know, somehow that could get involved in here. There could be somebody that maybe owes you money, or money that you're owed. You could be trying to make a big purchase or receive something that you feel like you're, you know, supposed to be owed. Now this is also, you know, wanting and being determined to go for your ambitions and your goals, your dreams and all of that. But there could be something that comes up here when it comes to money and priorities. Okay, so let me know how that ends up affecting you guys down below. And that is basically it. We are finally done. So thank you guys so much for watching this. I really appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you guys in my other videos.